And good morning. We have just started today's webinar, and we have some attendees that are working their way in. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will start. We're going to give everybody a moment or two just to come in. You're at the right place. This is the Increasing Your Exports with a New Jersey State Trade Expansion Program Financial Award webinar. We have two tremendous speakers. We have the Office of Export Promotion being represented today by myself, William Spear, Gregory Larkin, and we have a third colleague who is out of the office today, but Jean Chang. I suspect many of you have spoken with Gregory or Jean in the past. Gregory will be addressing chats, questions, things like that, raising points as we go along. But that's where we are at the moment. And as I say, we're going to give it just another 30 seconds. We've already got a dozen plus folks involved. Just trying to let everybody get in, check their settings so that we can get this entire message out. There is, I believe the chat is up and running as well. So please, anybody who has a question, feel free to type that into the chat, either on the top or the bottom of your screen. And so I think having said all of that, we are going to go ahead and start this program. Once again, this is the New Jersey Business Action Center's Increasing Your Exports with a New Jersey State Trade Expansion. That's the NJ STEP Financial Award. December 9th, that is today. Hope everybody's day is going well so far. And what we're going to do is we're going to immediately go to the agenda screen. This is what we're going to cover today. We're going to do a few slides on the New Jersey Business Action Center. We're going to talk then about the Office of Export Promotion. We're then going to talk about the aforementioned State Trade Expansion Program, NJ STEP. But as you'll see on this bullet item, really the focal point for today is going to be our exporters who are not just exporters, but they're actually succeeding with the NJ STEP program. And we will introduce to you both of them. You can see them now. They have taken time from their schedules to join us. And then after each of them speaks, and we'll be tossing a few questions to them as well, we will have a question and answer session towards the very end. Now, before I go on, I wanted to point out one thing, and you may start hearing it now. Gregory and I and state government, we've all returned to office, and we purposely chose to have today's webinar in a location that might actually pick up some cross conversations. You might hear other noises. You might hear telephones. You know, we have an elevator system that probably can be heard in the surrounding counties. But the purpose of doing this in my cubicle today and allowing all these ambient sounds to become part of the program has a very specific purpose, and I will reveal that towards the end. So if you should hear these sounds, if you should hear these cross currents of conversation, it does have a purpose. It has hopefully a positive purpose, and I will reveal that as we go on. And so having said all of that, we're going to go ahead and on into the New Jersey Business Action Center. The Business Action Center, as you can see right there, we're embedded inside of the Department of State, and we are a business first resource. And what that means is we are a group of advocates for businesses around the state of New Jersey. And those businesses can be, you know, Fortune 50. They can be on the corner in Sussex County, wherever, you know, whatever that may be. And it can be anything from selling hot dogs, walking a pet, to high-tech industries, you name it. When we say we are business advocates for businesses here in the state, we do mean that. All sizes, all spectrums of the industry, all counties, all cities, et cetera. Questions that get raised, our role is to connect folks in businesses to resources around the state. And going on, and I want to, on this slide, I want to jump down to that bottom red line. We're from state government, and we're here to help your business grow. I know that on the surface sounds like an absolutely misplaced line, but I guarantee you I have been with the state. I'm now in my 23rd year, and it has been nearly every ounce of it, or every minute of it, has been with the Business Action Center or its predecessor units. And our role has never wavered. It is to help companies to connect with resources, et cetera. And some of the resources or some of the products and services you can see right here. And if these are beginning to have an interest, perhaps at the end of today's webinar, please consider reaching out to myself or to Gregory, and we can certainly have those conversations, and we can begin connecting you with either the resources themselves or the organizations or the agencies that provide those resources. Going on one more slide, this is just a continuation of the products and services. And again, a continuation of our mantra. We're from state government and we're here to help your business grow. These are just some more of the areas, products and services that we provide. Now, going on to this last slide in the Business Action Center, these are the units that are here in the Business Action Center. Pretty straightforward: business advocacy, small business advocacy. Business advocacy, they help a lot with project-based engagements with clients. You know, if you are looking at relocating or maybe consolidating locations here in the state, you know, those are the folks that you really want to have some conversation with. Or if you're trying to get aligned with some of the other agencies, resources on that type of endeavor, you know, our colleagues over at the Office of Business Advocacy are really the ones that you want to have some conversation with. Small business advocacy, you may well have heard the name Don Newman. In fact, up until 2 years ago, I had been posted with Don's group in small business advocacy. They are the individuals who are much more transaction oriented, you know, and what I mean by that is, let's say you're trying to understand a licensing process, or you're trying to understand some regulatory guidelines. Those are the folks, Don Newman and Small Business Advocacy, are the ones who really have the handle on that part of the conversation for the businesses here in the state of New Jersey. And then immediately underneath them is the business helpline, 1-800-JERSEY-7. That is one way to get in touch with them. Another way is business.nj.gov. And that's an online chat that is staffed by the same colleagues of Small Business Advocacy. Those folks, again, transaction oriented. Let's say you're trying to understand the certification requirements for a home improvement contractor. Well, Don and Small Business Advocates are going to be the ones to get you there. Now, this Office of Planning Advocacy is more aligned and focused on municipalities, helping them to find resources to balance growth and balance sustainability. And if anybody here is aligned with a municipality, and that is something that they might have some interest on, please let's have a conversation or pop a question into the chat box, and so that we have a way to contact you. And then on the bottom of this page is the Office of Export Promotion. And that's where Gregory, Jean, and I are aligned. We are a unit within the larger Business Action Center. And to that end, the Office of Export Promotion has the role at the highest level of supporting all of New Jersey exporters. And that, again, just as my colleagues in the business advocates are supporting businesses of all industries, all sizes under those circumstances, Greg, Jean, and I help all exporters here in the state of New Jersey. And the things that we do, the services that we provide are somewhat lengthy, but in today's webinar, we're trying just to highlight a few select roles, and one is support existing exporters, just as I said a moment ago. We're trying to help companies find buyers, grow sales, and at the back end of that, to grow jobs here in the state of New Jersey. And so we're working with small and medium-sized companies to boost their foreign sales. And then a sometimes forgotten component of all of that is our collaboration with other state agencies, but also with the federal government. If you're familiar with U.S. Commercial Service, which is a subset of the Department of Commerce, U.S. Department of Commerce, that is one of our frequent and most treasured contacts. So, and it goes beyond that, but the federal government, and then there are instances as well in which we work with multinational situations. On occasion, the World Trade Organization, every now and then World Health, and the UN, believe it or not, is surprisingly active with its entrepreneurial outports. And then each country will also have some chambers as well that we work with. And we also are encouraging new exporters. Much of what we're trying to do, and we'll talk more about the STEP program in just a moment, but much of the focus for the STEP program is to talk with companies who perhaps are interested in exporting. And maybe the participants today fall into this category, but they're looking at exporting and it just looks like a 4-mile tall wall that makes no sense whatsoever. And it's going to be expensive and it's going to drain resources and it's going to end up not producing anything worthwhile. Well, one of the goals of the roles of our office is to help companies take that 4-mile high blank wall and begin to chunk it down and, and say, don't try to export to every market. Just let's figure out the ones, the 3, the 4, the 5 that make the most sense for you. And then find out, whether or not those markets are in fact conducive to what you sell, either a good or service. And then also, again, teasing for the STEP program, let's say they want to revamp their website to be more attractive to foreign buyers, but they're staring at a $12,000 to $15,000 price tag. Well, again, that STEP program has got the capacity to help out with those type of activities as well. And so we're trying to get companies to overcome that wall of what looks like might be absolutely impossible to scale, and find ways to help them to begin that process and to begin their journey into international markets. And two of the benefits actually are the second and third bullet points there. One of the unexpected, but almost always consequential benefits is when you become successful in other markets, it tends to make you competitive in all markets because it tends to sharpen how you do business and how you focus in on distinct cultural groups, distinct customer groups. And then that in turn begins to provide a buffer to the domestic sales cycle. So frequently we'll have companies say that, the sales cycle that they've, developed and cultivated in, we'll take Guatemala and Argentina and, how about Italy? Sales into those markets will go at a different rhythm than here in the United States. And so it kind of provides a diversification and keep your overall revenue stream at a more solid base. Again, those are some of the points that we try to encourage companies to consider to move beyond just thinking about exporting and actually begin doing exporting. And then back to our office, right now, everything we've talked about here for the Office of Export Promotion, to quote our colleague Don Newman, those are all prepaid services. Those services are made available to New Jersey companies through the taxes and fees you pay elsewhere. So if you engage Gregory, if you engage Gene, or if you engage me to have this conversation in a one-on-one, you know, you're not going to be paying a fee for that. The fees for those are paid through tax dollars, licenses, et cetera. And part of that is to help you identify resources for exporting. And then also that just tremendously long bullet point there, identify informational opportunities, on and on and on. That is a big part of what we do, is to get information resources to companies so that they can begin to become aware of what business is around the world and what opportunities are there. So that, again, part of that is what we do. It's a small part of what we do, but it's an important part. And then another select role, and this is the same program that's been embedded in the title of today's webinar, is our office manages the New Jersey State Trade Expansion Program. And that is, we are in our 10th year now. Gregory, Gene, and I are all part of that. We have other colleagues who provide resources to us, but our office does, in fact, it manages, it implements, it collects data on it, it provides feedback to the companies, feedback to our management, and then feedback to the SBA. But then going just a little further, now here's some details. The SBA is the federal funding source for the STEP program. And they have, I believe in either late August or September of this current year, they just announced the current STEP program funding to the participating states. And on October 1, the state of New Jersey was awarded a $1.25 million grant for the sole purpose of helping exporters find buyers or prepare their companies for finding buyers in foreign markets. And so that's a lot of money. And in the first 2 months, and give me one moment to get my notes up in front of me, but in the first 2 months, and as of last Thursday, from that 1.25 million, we actually had awarded $936,000. And that company, I'm sorry, that money has gone to companies like today's participants. These are small companies that, you know, may have 2 employees, they may have 1 employee, they may have 17 employees, and they are in industries that, and I'll say, I've said this before, they are in industries I did not even know existed here in the state of New Jersey. So one point in the, or one flag, one post in the conversation now, whatever industry our participants may be in, the odds are very high a STEP company has received support. So please, first bullet point, please do not think that your company is so unique or so niche that there may not be buyers outside the country who would be interested in your product. And conversely, please do not think that there is not STEP support that might be available. Yep, there's other criteria, and we're going to get into that for a moment. But, you know, one of the early bullet points is to the participants, don't let your industry, don't let the size of your company necessarily dictate how much you do or do not want to go forward. Again, as I said a moment ago, there are some criteria. It is on a first come, first served basis. And as I said just a moment ago, there's been $936,000 worth of first come, first served awards, leaving just over $250,000, like 280 if I'm doing my math right. And the SBA does mandate that companies do have to be eligible. They actually have to be small. Believe it or not, they have to be small as defined by the SBA. And, you know, I think I've included in here I think I've included in here the state, the SBA's size parameter. And it's tiny. It is modest. And again, it's both for goods makers, manufacturers, and service companies. And so again, please don't self-edit, don't exclude yourself. And the companies need to be either new to exporting. We really enjoy working with them and being at the beginning of their journey. However, we're equally appreciative of working with companies who are already selling their goods and services in other countries. Continuing with the criteria, the firms have to be registered in and domestic to the state of New Jersey, small as defined by the SBA. And there's that size table that we were just talking about. They have to be in business for at least 1 year as of the date of the application, tax compliant, and our office always helps with that. Manufacturing goods or producing services that contain at least 51% content, and you have to be registered with NJ Start, which is a New Jersey government entity, and you have to have a DUNS number. Now, those are all, everything on here is an SBA requirement. We've really not added anything to that other than registered and domestic to New Jersey. And a couple of, before we turn the show over to really the attraction today, our two speakers, a couple of typical costs that the STEP program is helping companies with right now is website and e-commerce fees to attract international buyers. And I touched upon this very early on. And, you know, if anybody has actually looked at the price tag associated with a website, you know, it's more than most of the cars I've ever owned in my lifetime. So it is with great joy that we can say that the SBA STEP program can help take a lot or all of the sting out of that. So again, as you go forward after today's webinar, and if you're looking at your website, don't let prices dissuade you from contacting us. Let's, you know, try to get a sense of what you want to do within this and maybe some other areas as well. The design of international marketing media. You know, if you happen to already be going to a show and the buyers that you're trying to reach out to speak a different language, well, the STEP program is square aligned with helping companies to design, produce, and translate literature for buyers speaking other languages. And when I use the word literature, that really does have a broad context. You know, we've supported companies in their sell sheets. We've supported companies in their promotional brochures. We've helped companies with their training guides, et cetera. Anything that's helping you to connect with a foreign buyer, we want to, and you know, you want to go forward with a STEP program, we want to have a conversation to see if in fact that falls within the broad categories as defined by the SBA. Participation in international and US trade events, that has for the longest time been really the single biggest category, and it remains that now. However, a lot of folks do not realize that there are tremendous trade shows here in the United States that attract foreign buyers. You know, you don't have to go to Lisbon to necessarily meet buyers from that area. They may be coming to a trade event here in New Jersey. And so if the domestic trade event is attracting foreign buyers, and we'll ask you, where are you coming up with that data? We would consider that as a means to meet foreign buyers. You know, obviously, if you're traveling into Germany, if you're going into the aforementioned Guatemala or Argentina, you're already being surrounded by foreign buyers. So that's pretty straightforward. Trade missions, the U.S. Department of Commerce during the COVID time suspended very nearly all of their trade missions. They're gently stepping back into that direction. and they have their trade winds going on, I want to say April of 2022. And if you're familiar with trade winds, let's certainly have a conversation, connect you with folks that are going to have that information. But a secondary point is, the U.S. Department of Commerce is not only the entity that puts on trade missions. There are other companies, there are other entities that put on trade missions, and we are still very actively supporting virtual trade missions. You know, there is still a fair amount of concern traveling overseas, but there are entities who have stepped into that void and they're putting on virtual events. And again, if that's something that's working for you, let's make sure you're going to talk with Gregory, Gene, or myself and see where and how and if the STEP program can help you. And then also fees provided by U.S. Commercial Service. Commercial Service is a unit that I spoke about early on, and they are a subset of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and they actually have domestic offices, but the real payoff for USCS is the individuals that they have in embassies and U.S. embassies and U.S. consulates around the world. By communicating with USCS here in New Jersey, you really have access to people who are on the ground in countries around the world, and their jobs have a very, very simple description: advance U.S. business interests, and that includes the state of New Jersey. And again, if you're familiar with USCS and you've engaged with them in the past, you probably have a positive recollection of that. If that's something new, again, after today, let's put in place a conversation for that. And I think now, having said all of that, here comes the payoff, because the folks that we're about to introduce you to and who are about to speak are actually current STEP recipients, and they're actually succeeding with the STEP program. And we actually have two individuals, Mr. Henry Ouna, founder of Hino Group, and Mr. Anthony Londino, president of Metcon Technologies. Both of them are current STEP Award recipients. Both of them are having export success. And now comes that blessed moment when I no longer have to talk anymore. And I'm going to turn this over. I'm not sure, Henry or Anthony, who wants to go first. I'll let that go with you. But at this moment, the show, the program, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Henry, I want to be courteous. If you want to go first, I'll wait, whichever you decide.
That's okay, Anthony. You can go.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, William. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak here, and let me say out to our participants, good morning as well. It's really such a joy for me to be able to spend a few minutes just to tell you a little bit about us and what we've been doing with NJ STEP. Just to give you just a level set who we are as a company, Metcon Technologies. Incidentally, Metcon stands for something. Metcon stands for medication confirmation. And I'll get into that in a minute. But essentially, we're a small New Jersey-based company. We support pharmaceutical clinical trial patients to more effectively self-manage and administer their medication away from the clinical sites. Medication adherence is a huge worldwide problem. Did I take my medication? Do I need to take my medications? And there are many, many implications around that. So it's a very big problem, and it affects a lot as pharmaceutical companies are trying to develop and introduce new remedies and new drugs. So we came out originally with initially with a product called MedSked, which was a bottle sleeve that fit on a bottle and had little reminder take dose tabs, kind of like little Post-it notes associated with each day, Monday through Sunday, if you will. And it was a very, very easy tool and simple to use. There, it would really help people to remember that they need to do something like a Post-it note, right? They need, in this case, take their medication. And so we introduced that product and actually had tremendous success with that, which I'll, we wound up, I'll expound about it a little bit later in my discussion. But what happened is that in the market, in the pharmaceutical market, and worldwide in all businesses, what's called digital transformation. Companies want information real time. They want to use the public cloud, and they want to get this information to streamline processes, but more importantly, to get actionable data that they can act upon and make decisions sooner. And ultimately for the pharmaceutical companies, get their products approved by the FDA and out into the marketplace sooner. So that's what it's all about. But before I go on, I would be remiss if I did not take this moment to thank Jean Chang for her continuing and support and guidance in our journey with NJ-BAC. So thank you, Jean. I want to thank you for that so very, very much. Metcon has been exporting products out in the marketplace. What we're doing is we've been selling our products and services to major pharmaceutical companies. And what better place than to sell to major pharmaceutical companies than in New Jersey? I think 80% or 75% of pharmaceutical companies throughout the world have their North American headquarters right here in New Jersey. So we started calling on pharmaceutical companies, and these pharmaceutical companies are worldwide companies. So we started selling our services to them, our MedSced, and more recently, our Metcon Mobile Smart Label, which is our mobile application for assisting the patients in their clinical trials, and also enhancing the data that the clinical teams receive. So, it really, really had an international flavor, right? Because although we were starting here in the United States with these pharmaceutical companies, they went and would do their clinical trials internationally. In fact, our first contract, our first order was with Metcon Company. And they did a clinical trial with about 700 patients in 55 locations in Canada, and the United States. So there was our first introduction to the international markets and providing services to them. From there, we expanded with Merck, and we did several other worldwide clinical trials with them. And ultimately, our MedSced was used, or has been used in 32 countries and has been translated into 24 languages. So today, fast forward to today, we continue to provide our services to American companies that have their locations in international countries. So we asked the question, why is exporting important to Metcon? It's important to help us, first of all, support our customers through their international offices and their international clinical sites that are in all over the world. Secondly, it's important for us as a company to scale and to grow our business on an international basis. And we look at how did the New Jersey Trade Expansion Program help Metcon increase its export? It was an invaluable, words cannot express how much help that this program has been for us. It is how it's helping us specifically, and it was in one of William's slides, is with strategic international conferences. It has helped us pay for our attendance in these international conferences that bring, as Bill alluded to, that bring not only the people here in the United States, but people from international countries. In addition to that, our adherence solutions uh, they help support these countries, but they have to be, they can't, although international is excuse me, English is an international language. Not everybody speaks English. So these, and especially our products have to be translated into the native languages. So NJ Back has been instrumental with helping us in our brochures and our patient-facing training materials and getting those materials translated into the native languages. And lastly, helping us on our website and improve our website. In fact, if you go to our website, you could see the website in English or about 14 or 15 other languages currently. So needless to say, the NJ program has played an immeasurable major part in helping Metcon not only to flourish, but to continue to grow our business, not only here in the United States, but in other countries. As an example of that, today we got our first contract for our Metcon mobile application with Bayer AG out of Berlin, Germany.
Kudos.
And we are supporting their clinical trial in 14 countries, from Czechoslovakia to Brazil, to Portugal, to the Netherlands. So very, very helpful in that regard. Also, we are in the final meetings of signing a master services agreement with a company called Thermo Fisher, a $30 billion American company, but a multinational company that's worldwide. And they are the face to 500 pharmaceutical companies. So with this, we are really, really being strategic here in using our American base and our international services to build on that. So I can't say enough. In closing, I cannot say enough, nor can I thank enough NJ Back for their incredible support. It has helped Metcon tremendously. Thank you.
Hey, Anthony, thank you. Thank you so much. I will get those words to Jean, 100%. She'll see the recording anyway, so yeah, she'll see that as well. But thank you. But and again, continued wishes, etc. And thank you for the examples of how the STEP program has supported your company and how you've grown with the STEP program. And Henry, I think we're going to turn it over to you, and now to give your part of what has been happening with Eno Group, and the floor is yours, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks everyone for joining. I can relate very much to what Anthony talked about, having been in pharmaceutical research and marketing in the past life. So I completely understand the value of what his company brings to the table. But switching over to my new life, which is making beverages and selling beverages, I met someone from NJ Back. They made a presentation at the Small Business Development Council at Rutgers University. It's an SBA sponsored program. And I got his card, and we exchanged some emails, and then he linked me over to Gregory and William, and here I am today talking about what we've been able to do. And I can't thank the group enough for what they've done so far. I know Gregory has been very instrumental in guiding me through helping with the process of what we need to do, where we need to go, what we need to focus on. In the past, we've had a situation where we didn't want to do a lot of programs because obviously exporting the product, we thought it was going to be too expensive. We had an opportunistic buy through someone in Saudi Arabia a while ago, and that was it. We didn't do much again after that. But after meeting, working with Gregory, we've been able to expand our exporting. Just stepping back, really stepping back, I'll talk about what we do. Our product is called Beeswater. We make, we're the first honey water to be introduced in the market. Worldwide, actually, we know that there's been a number of people copying the concept now, but when we first started, we were the first company to introduce a product made only with honey, a water product made only with honey. So rather than using refined sugar or artificial sweeteners, which you see a lot on the market today, we use just honey to make our products. And that way you get the health benefits of the honey, and then you also get a very refreshing beverage. Of course, honey is a natural immune booster. It's an energy booster. It gives you a lot of energy. And that's why the ancient Olympians used to eat honey before they went out to do Olympic Games a long time ago. So having known that, we decided to use honey just to give you a lot of different ways that you can get either energy without the high and the crash of regular sugar, and also giving you some additional benefits with the honey. We also use antioxidants in our products, such as vitamin C. We use a lot of vitamin C in the product just to make sure that people can get their vitamins, especially vitamin C, which is an antioxidant. So now, so a lot of places outside the United States, they understand the concept of honey. They understand the concept of honey water. A lot of Asian countries actually use they make and drink honey water. A lot of people in the Middle East, they like honey as well. So when we looked at how we can grow our business, of course, trying to grow your business here in the United States, it's a tall ladder. You know, if you know anything about getting into the retail stores, there's a lot that they require. Whether it's, giving them free products or giving them, paying them to be on the shelf and things like that. So we decided to look elsewhere outside the United States. And that's where NJ Back and the program came into place. A number of trade shows, like William mentioned earlier, a number of trade shows where you have international buyers coming to the United States to look at products that they can take back or import into their country. We were able to attend and participate in a lot of those trade shows just so that we can showcase our product. Again, we didn't have to go outside the country. Like you heard earlier, we did it here in the United States, and there's a lot of international buyers that come to these trade shows to make purchases, and to look at products, identify products, have additional conversations with you, and then they can start bringing it into their countries. So having said that, we've been able to do more in the Saudi Arabia market. We've been able to go into Bahamas. We've been able to go into Dubai. And another opportunity that came up, which we were not thinking about this because it was a lot of money for us to invest to do this. And then when I talked to Gregory, he mentioned that that's something that they can look into. It's a Vietnam program where we did so that they can buy a lot of our product, and they give us minimum guarantees in terms of what they can buy. And then we can push the product more with them. And then we've been able to get the product listed in the Vietnamese market as well. So without the program, we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of these things that I just mentioned. So our product right now, we have it in a number of countries. We just did a trade show a few weeks ago where somebody is interested from Israel, they're interested in bringing the product into Israel. And he told me so much about how honey is a big thing in Israel, and that they would like to bring the product in. So we're in the final stages of some conversation about how we can export the product out there. The other thing that I think was very good earlier this year is being able to redo our website. I think William mentioned earlier about being able to do the website. We've been able to do our website. We revamped our website, not only revamping the website, but we did it in such a way that no matter where you are, like Anthony, the same kind of thing like Anthony mentioned, no matter where you are, you're able to go into the website, change something on the website, and you're able to read the information we have in your language. So we have it in over 20 something languages right now on our website. So that is something that we wouldn't have been able to do until now with the program. We've also been able to do a number of search engine optimizations with our website, courtesy of the same program. So I can't thank you guys enough for actually working with us on this, and I can't thank Gregory enough for all the help he's helped us do this. And in case you're thinking that you're going to be bogged down with a lot of paperwork, the paperwork is not that much. It's you do like a survey, you put together information in a survey just for them to learn a little bit more about your company. And then you fill out the ROI sheets just to say, okay, this is the program, hopefully you look at all the different programs that you want to do, you narrow it down strategically in terms of the ones that will give you the most impact. And then you come up with a return on investment that you think you'll be able to get from that program, and you submit it. So the process is not that much. So in case when you hear something that has to do with the government, sometimes you think, oh, it's just going to be bogged down with paperwork. You're going to be bogged down with the process, but the process here is not so. It's unlike some of the other government programs that you think about or that you see. So I also wanted to put that out just in case it's something that you're thinking is going to be too cumbersome. It's not. It's something that you can actually do in a day and just get it in. So having said that, again, thank you very much to the STEP program. We've had a very, very good experience, and we're applying again for next year.
Henry, thank you so much, and Anthony as well. Let me toss one question back to both of you right now. Is there anything, and this is completely unscripted, take it that, is there something that you'd like the STEP program to consider for your respective companies, or is there something that you already know that you're going to do in the next funding cycle that is going to be part of the conversation, either Henry between you and Gregory, or Anthony between you and Gene? Looking forward to what the next go round of grant funding or STEP funding might be.
Henry, I'll extend you the courtesy. You extended me and let you go first.
Yeah, sure. No, I think one of the things, we'll continue to take advantage of everything that I just mentioned right now. One of the things that I talked to Gregory earlier, even though it's not in what I sent him right now, because I want to noodle on that a little bit more, is being able to actually do ads in the international market. Like doing like a billboard ad or things like that, just to promote the product more. And I heard that that's something that you can do now. So I think it's something that we'll be looking to take advantage of. I think that's great. Whether it's a billboard or whether it's something that you can do to help market the product in the international market, I think that's great.
Hey, Gregor, do you want to speak to that for a moment? I think it's one of your clients that had that in a different market, right?
Yeah, Bill, thanks. I've had two companies participate in this STEP activity, which is foreign billboard. One in the United Kingdom and one in the Caribbean. And they have seen great success in this. Obviously, the one in the UK was in English. It was in a premier area. And they are seeing a lot of traffic from that country to their website. So it's an interesting opportunity for companies. And thanks for thinking about it, Henry. If you want to talk further about it, we can do that.
Sure.
Anthony, how about you? Throw the microphone to you.
Thanks, William. That's a great question. And, you know, honestly, I've been so focused with Gene in the area of the translations and, you know, translating our user guides, for example, and attending these conferences that I don't know what other areas. This is very intriguing. This foreign billboard. I'd like to talk a little bit more about it. As a small company, we face the challenge. Our biggest challenge that we face is awareness. A lot of companies out there, you know, you could have the best service or the best product in the world, but if people don't know about it, it could present a significant disadvantage. So companies are not aware of our mobile application, our digital SaaS solution. They're not aware of Metsked unless they go to the website. So one of the areas is I would like to work with Gene and Jay Step is to help us through the various programs, perhaps this foreign billboard program, to build awareness of Metcon Technologies and our Metcon mobile smart label application and our Metsked. That's what I'd like to do. Maybe whether that's through our website, William or Greg, or through our, through patient facing materials like a brochure or an information sheet or our website. I'm not sure, but increasing awareness, take advantage of some of the other programs in addition to what we're having now. I'd love to be able to discuss that with Gene and NJ back.
Okay. Well, that's great. I appreciate all the information and the insight that you've shared. And we're going to begin just closing this up. And I do know that I've seen some questions coming in on the chat. So please continue to bring those to Gregory's attention. And this is the questions and answer session. Now we're just going to roll through a few slides while we're taking these questions. One of the parts of the Office of Export Promotion that does not always get its own due, I guess, in what we do is a couple years ago, I think it's 2018, if I'm not mistaken, we actually got the President's E-Star Award for our export promotion activities. And there are not that many E-Star Award recipients in the country. There's a lot of E awards, but not that terribly many E-Star. And so we're really, really proud of that. And we take a great deal of pride in what we did. And certainly while the award is, is significant, and I think if I get out of the way, that blue star that you can see is the bottom of the banner that we received from Department of Commerce. Towards the top is the E-Star. That star you see there is the tail end of the banner. But the point, though, to be made is not so much the banner and the very lovely graphic that they sent to us to use on all of our presentations, is that that award was based on the services that we deliver to companies. And those same services are available to, obviously Henry and Anthony, who are taking, taking the opportunity to avail themselves, but to the participants on today's webinar as well. So I do want to, hype us up a little bit more and let everybody know that these services are recognized elsewhere. You've heard two just tremendously moving speeches, but Commerce has also recognized them. And then I wanted to roll forward into one more slide. This is how you can reach us. And I believe Gregory may have answered the question in terms of where can you get the literature for that. And that's on that website. You can email me Gregory Larkin would be gregory.larkin, Larkin, at sos.nj.gov. Jean Chang would be jean.chang at sos.nj.gov, or that 1-800 Jersey 7 number that we talked about a moment ago. That's my colleagues just over the wall here. And speaking of just over the wall, I do want to take a moment to reveal the reason we decided to have today's webinar here in a cubicle, in which there's the potential for lots of ambient noises and conversations. In fact, I think a while ago, a colleague might have walked into her cubicle just behind me. But the purpose we put this here is to throw out a what if. What if you had a video conferencing portal that could help you talk with your clients around the world in real time, and you had the chance to go face to face like this, and you had a chance to, you know, share a screen, and maybe you shared some documents, and maybe you shared, maybe you had like I can move my camera around. It's not the most glamorous of all locations here in Trenton, New Jersey, but I could move that camera around and you could see my screen in that way. Well, imagine all that, and imagine the value your company would get in terms of its export activities. And then imagine all of that being funded in part or totally by the STEP program. And that's the reveal. This same setup that, that we are delivering information, that Henry and Anthony and Gregory have spoken today, this same setup could be a video conferencing technical support or customer assistance portal with, let's go back into the countries that Anthony and Henry are. Anthony's just sealed a deal into Germany. So suppose we're having a conversation with our customers in Germany. Henry has had some success in Dubai or Saudi Arabia and in Vietnam. So perhaps this video conferencing is now going on with buyers, prospective buyers in those markets. And then on top of all that, have that setup being, again, depending on the setup, the cost of the setup, all or partly reimbursed to the STEP program. So that's the reveal. That's why we wanted to do this here. This is what your customers around the world could experience, the same kind of ambient sounds and noises. And that was the reason why we did this here today. And we're going to put this slide up here. This again is the 1-800 New Jersey Business Action Center. We talked about this early on. And we're going to roll forward one more slide and say thank you. And then we're going to say, are there any other questions outstanding that anyone would like to ask? Henry, I do know that you've got a hard stop at 11:15. We're trying to be very respectful to that. So if anybody has a question for Henry, please bring that to his attention now. His time with us today is precious, or Anthony, or Gregory as well. So the floor is now open to the folks who have joined us today, and we encourage their questions. And while we're getting those, I actually am going to go back and ask Henry and Anthony one question here at the very end. If you had just one point to make to today's participants on either their own export journeys or how the STEP program might help their export journeys, what would that one point be from each of you? Anthony or Henry or Anthony, who would ever like to start?
Well, I would say that if you really want to help your business be successful, it's simply put, if you're not taking advantage of the offerings that NJ-BAC and the STEP program provide, it's really a loss for you, because from a financial statement or from a financial perspective, it has been just invaluable. As an example, some of these conferences are excruciatingly expensive to attend. And so being able to get a grant to attend a $10,000 conference, or a $12,000 conference, or an $8,000 or $5,000 conference is a very, very big help to a small company. So I would just say, I willingly wanted to speak today to show my thanks and appreciation and my enthusiasm for the assistance that I have received and continue to receive from NJBAC.
Thank you, Anthony, and continued good luck.
Thank you.
And for me, I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to sound like Nike. All I'll just say is, just do it. There really isn't much to hold you back if you're looking to expand your business outside the United States. Like Anthony said, these conferences can be very, very expensive. It was also very helpful for us, like I said earlier, for our website, just to revamp our website and make it into languages that, Afrikaans, if you go to the website, you'll be able to read what we have there in Afrikaans, which is a South African language. So just in case there are people in South Africa that are looking at the website and they'll like to do business with us. So again, it's just do it. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Henry. And I think, Gregory, if I'm not mistaken, all the questions have been responded, either information or emails for follow-ups. We look to be good right now. Am I correct?
Yes, Bill. It looks like maybe one person raised their hand recently.
Oh, thank you so much. I completely missed that. Great confidence. Maybe that's it. I'm not seeing the raised hand on my side. Sorry for that.
Okay. Everything's up to date then. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So to the folks who were in our audience today, there will be a link for the recording of today's event. It will take us a day or two to edit out the very beginning and the end, just to make sure it's as tight as humanly possible. But that link will be sent back to the same email that was used to register. You will also receive a PDF version of today's PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going to close simply by saying we wish you nothing but success in your exports this holiday season, however you celebrate that. And we're going to ring off right now, and best of luck with everything.